I wasn't even filming that whole time, I just realized.
Hmm?
I wasn't even filming that whole time.
Oh, you weren't? Yeah, you normally have to push the little button here.
Just to flip you off.
Alright, so we got the torque converter off. There's the transmission. There's basically everything but the door. But all that we had to take off just to get it on there. And get it out of there.
All for this little part right here. Fun stuff.
There's the engine cradle over there. Because we had to drop it out of the car along with everything else that was connected to it. As you guys saw in the videos prior. Now, to get to the torque converter bolts, don't try to do it from here. If you lift up the motor, you'll see that there's a plastic cover right here that flips up underneath here and covers it. And then you get a socket up underneath here, and it's a 15mm socket. So yeah, it's just now a matter. So now it's just a matter of putting everything back on and going from there. Now, in the first beginning set of the videos, we were showing you how you could diagnose this transmission, finding out if you have a bad torque converter. And you would take these two bolts off right here, and with the car running, and if you don't get any hydraulic pressure coming out of there, then the torque converter is likely the bad part and not the actual transmission.
And like you've probably seen in other videos, if you look down inside of there, there's like a 3-stage spline. The one on the very far back is completely stripped out on ours. That's what happens. But make sure before you install the new one that you check the splines on your transmission and make sure this is the spline that strips out, the one inside torque converter, and make sure that these teeth are all still intact and good. Otherwise, you're going to need to rebuild or at least a new input shaft.
So we just crossed the path of tearing everything down, and so now it's the project of putting everything back up. And I have my shop friend with me today. All right, so we're gonna get back at it and get that torque converter put on and bolted up. Then we got to remate the motor and transmission, and then remate those back on there. Put the wiring harness back on the way it needs to be, and shove it back up underneath. We're going to leave the axles out and all that until we get the motor put in, just so we have a little bit extra room. So
yeah, today just to try to get all that at least just bolted back up in the car and call it a day probably.
All right, let's have fun. All right, so we're working back on the Mercury Sable, and we just got the carriage and the motor put back in, and we got the rack and pinion started and rehooked up. We don't have any of the wheel or suspension parts in yet. We haven't really connected much on top of the motor yet. We're going to be going around plugging everything in. We would have been further along, but we had to take a detour because a sensor had broken, and we went to a pick and pull lot to get the sensor replaced. It goes on the very back of the motor, right by the exhaust manifold, which is just a little tight.
And it's the knock sensor, just in case you're wondering.
Which is out of production.
They can order it from Advanced Auto, but it's $120 and it's out for $100 online. End up getting it for $5.99 at the pick and pull.
Yeah, I think that was a deal. So, yeah, we're just in the middle of getting everything put back together. It's maybe 3-4 hours total time, and it should start up again. We're pretty much in the home stretch now. Well, we're gonna get back on it and